Stitch Cutie, I'm Brittany with Stitches of Love Quilting, and welcome to the video tutorial for making your July Ewe Troupe block using your embroidery machine. So let's talk about first what you need to get started. So of course you have your pattern, which has all your instructions for after the machine embroidery, and you have your placement guide. I am going to keep my placement guide out and handy just so I can follow the numbers as I do this. Then you're also going to want to have, this is the fabric that comes in your kit. Aren't these the cutest colors this month for the border? We're going to set that aside. We're going to finish that off after we're done with the embroidery, and it'll be in a separate video tutorial for you. Then you have your yellow background fabric, which came in your kit. I have already starched my fabric, and I folded it in half once, right sides together. I folded it in half again so that I'm ready to position it in my hoop. And then I have, of course, all my pre-fused laser cut applique pieces, and I've gone on and taken the white backing off of all of them. So I'm just going to safely set these aside. Now let's talk about the setup. So I have my Steady Betty in front of me, and then later on I'll be using my cutting mat, and I like now to use my light pad with that. I'm so excited to have a cordless light pad to add to my little setup, which is just making me so happy. And I don't really use the glass for the machine embroidery, but I do use it a lot sometimes when I'm getting when I'm finishing up a project, and I use it a lot for machine applique. And the glass I'm referring to is our applique glass mat, which I just really love having. And if you'll notice, my self-healing cutting mat is a perfect fit on top of it, on top of my light pad. So I love this whole little setup. It makes me happy. Of course, I have my 3M transport tape, which I use to hold my fabric in place at the very beginning. I have a rotary cutter and a ruler for trimming at the end. I have my favorite pair of Karen K. Buckley scissors. I have my steam fast travel iron because I cannot do my machine embroidery and iron my applique pieces without this little guy. I love it. And then, of course, let's talk about the beautiful thread colors for this month. I normally have it laid out on my Steady Betty for you, and I put it all the way to the side already. So let me pull those out for you. Aren't those the prettiest colors? Very patriotic for our Uncle Sam block we're making. So, of course, these are all sulky 40-weight rayon threads, and then we have the Ewe Troupe thread kit that has the really cute petite spools that have the perfect amount of thread for the project. So this is sulky white 1001. That's going to be what we start with at the very beginning of our project. Then the color you all know and love, avocado 1177. I use this guy all the time. Then we have deep Nassau blue. Isn't that just a beautiful blue? 1293. Then, of course, we have black 1005. Then we have Christmas red, which is a beautiful red. It's 1147. And then your thread kit and the machine embroidery files call for number 1055. However, I happen to have 1056, so I'm going to use 1056. This is medium tawny, and the one that you're called for is a tawny tan. So pretty much the same color. Either one works, but your kit, if you have the embroidery kit from us, has 1055. I'm using 1056 just because I don't want to open a thread kit just for myself, and I have that one on hand. And then we have the 1218 silver gray for our sheep. So what we're going to do is first load that medium tearaway stabilizer in your 8x12 hoop. I have mine ready to go. I'm going to load my white thread. We're going to proceed to the first step. Okay, so that very first step in your hoop, you can see you have a T outlined in the middle of your hoop. What you're going to do is take your hoop, put it down in front of you. I always turn mine sideways, you know, so that I fit on my Steady Betty nicely, and of course for the camera. So I have my fabric again. It's folded in half right sides together. This is a Bella solid, so there really isn't a right or wrong side, but you can pick which side you like as the outside best. So right sides together in half, fold it one more time. You have a folded edge here. You have folded edge there. You're gonna line that up with your T and just open it up and open it up again. Now you'll notice in your kit you need an 11-inch square. We actually cut it a lot bigger than that in your kit, so you don't even need to worry about trimming what comes in your kit. Just starch it, get it ironed to your desired firmness. Like, I use a lot of starch on this one, and then that's all you have to do. You don't need to worry about trimming it until the very end. We're going to trim it, okay, because you have more than enough fabric than what you really need. And then we're just going to put some tape in place to hold this little guy in place for us. And we're going to keep the white thread on for the first several steps, okay? And it's really important that you have white thread on, because the way I've digitized this file is the white pieces that we put down it's actually going to stitch that as it stitches then the next applique outlines for us. So white thread until it notates otherwise in your pattern and until I mention it here in the video. Just want to make sure you don't end up with like a crazy color somewhere on your white. Okay, so this is ready to go. We're going to put it on. The machine is going to give us several outlines. It's going to outline the little green squiggle grass at the bottom. It's going to give us the pole of our flag, the base of our flag, and then one of our sheep's arms. Okay, so we have these applique outlines up here and then one across the bottom. So let's just start at the beginning with our green squiggle, and we're going to put this right in place. And as always, your pieces are just a perfect fit. When you have a long piece like this, you want to make sure you have it in position. And then I like to start at one end and work my way over so that I make sure my little piece doesn't wiggle. And so that it's in the right spot all the way over. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so now right here, you want to really pay attention to the order you put these in. You'll notice you have 3 pieces that are all clustered together, right? So we're going to start with a specific order. The first thing we're going to do is put down the brown, which is the handle of our flag. Then you'll notice for the white pieces in this kit, like you have 2 of the same piece of white. That's because we want it double lined, right? So what we're going to do is put down 1 piece in the spot. There we go. And we're just going to put this second piece right on top of it. And that way you have a double lined piece without any extra effort. And what that does is hide the background behind it. So for example, you don't see that brown underneath here. You'll really notice that when we do the stars on the blue pixie dot piece. You'll see that in a moment. And then the final piece of this step is the gray arm of our little sheep. There we go. So now we're going to put this back on. The next step is going to have quite a few pieces again. We're going to have the beginning pieces of building our legs for our sheep. We're going to have the big white base, the white pixie dots of the body. We're going to have the end of his arm. And then we're going to have the red pieces of our flag. Okay, so now in your hoop, you have the next set of outlines. And let's talk about the order we're going to put these on it. We're going to need to pay special attention down here at his feet that we put these pieces in a specific order because there's a lot of overlap. So let's pay attention and get started. So let's start with our little red pieces on our flag. There are 3 red stripes. Boop. So I'm just going to put those in place. Boop. So cute. They're little pieces, I must tell you. So be careful. And I just got my nails done. And you know what? They're longer than I think I've ever had them before in my life. And the struggle is real when I type. And I'm noticing the struggle is real when I work with little pieces. However, they are kind of built-in tweezers. So, okay, maybe it's helpful. It's just a lot to get used to. Then we're going to put the, I guess this would be his hoof. The end of his arm. Yeah, that's what sheeps have, right? Whoop. So get your piece right in place. See, I am having a hard time with my nails. Forgive me. Y'all are like, oh my gosh, get the piece in place already. There we go. Now we're going to put this whole big body down. That's our white pixie dots. Isn't that cute? That's the unifying theme throughout the quilt is this pixie dot fabric. Every sheep is made of that. Really, really cute, I think. So again, with a big piece like this, you just want to make sure that you have it totally in the right place. I'm going to hold it, and I'm just going to start at one end and work my way over. Whoop. Easy peasy. There we go. Okay, so now is where we really need to pay attention to the order we place these down. Let me just show you on the placement guide real fast. So we're going to do piece number 2, which is blue. We're going to do 3, which is red. We're going to jump over and we're going to do number 5, which is blue, and then number 6, that is red. So while my machine was stitching the last step, I just laid them in order so I didn't have to think about it again. It's a fun little tip. While your machine's doing something, kind of think ahead in your instructions and get your pieces ready. I find that to make life easy. All right, and then we're doing the red piece on the right. There we go. And then if you get it in the wrong spot while it's still hot, you can kind of adjust. See how I was able to just kind of wiggle that little guy? And I'll give him a press in just a second again to make sure he's really anchored. So the blue right here. So see, while I press that blue, I'm also just repressing that red for myself. And then the final red piece right there. All right, so those are all the pieces in this step. Now when we put this back on, we're going to come back again with a bunch of pieces to iron on. So we're gonna have the blue piece of our flag. We're gonna have all the red stripes of our little sheep. Then we're gonna have the blue pixie dot that makes up the left side of his body. And then we're gonna have the 2 black pieces for the bottom of his shoes. Or maybe they're his hoofs. You can decide. Okay, so now your machine gave you another round of applique pieces, and let's just talk about what it did. So we're gonna put down our blue piece up here, and then we're gonna pay special attention when we put down the 2 black pieces down here because there is some overlap. Then we're gonna make sure that we put down all of our red stripes before we put down the navy pixie over here because this needs to be on top of the stripes. And then you'll notice a fun little thing. The machine went on and did the straight line quilting of your white all the way around so that at the end, we didn't have to put white thread back on and do just little sections and knot off everywhere. So the little applique part of your white is already stitched down. So we're just eliminating some future steps with that digitizing, which I like to do. As many times as I can do that for y'all, I do it. Okay, so let's start by putting on the flag piece because he's a nice simple piece to get in place. Just pop that on, give him a press. Now let's put down our 2 black pieces, and I'll get my placement guide to show you. We want to make sure that we put down the right foot first, right? Number 4 and then number 7. So let's get piece number 4 right in place right here. And now we'll get piece number 7. And after this step, it's really going to start looking like a sheepy sheep. This is our Uncle Sam. So cute. Okay, so now we can do all of our stripes. It doesn't matter when you're doing your stripes which stripe you iron down first. You just need to make sure that you put them down before the navy. So I'm just going to grab a red stripe. Let's see, this little guy is the top. So let's get him right in place. There we go. Now, the bottom piece. Again, it doesn't matter the order for the red stripes. There we go. Whoop. Okay, what piece is next? It's like a little puzzle. There we go. That's how we say puzzle at my house. I know, y'all are probably like, wow, she's full of some interesting words today. Puzzle is how we say puzzle. I don't know why, it's just fun. We make up a lot of words at our house. It's fun. All right, and now we have this big piece right here. Boop, right in place. And you'll notice it's like a perfect fit on the edge of your sheep. There we go. And then pretty easy to figure out where this guy goes. Right here. You just want to make sure you get that lined up nicely, especially down here on that little tip. So I'm just going to hold him. And then we'll come across. Perfect. How cute. Our little stripes. I'm starting to really dig it. Okay, and now the infamous navy piece that goes on last in this step. So again, line it up everywhere, especially your little squiggles on the outside. Woo! Well, that's never happened. Did y'all hear that? I dropped my iron. Well, this will be a little testament to the steam fast. You can drop it on a tile floor. Scared myself. I have on sandals, y'all. That could have hurt. But I jumped away fast enough. I'm just going to leave that in the tutorial. Why not? Y'all can get a little giggle. Brittany dropped her iron. I sure did. He did good, though. Look, he didn't break it all. I mean, I need to clean it, but look at that. Right on the tile floor. Y'all probably heard it. All right, so let's take a look at what's in your hoop. Perfect. So now when we put this back on again, we still have that white thread on. The machine is going to give us an outline of the 3 stars. We're going to have the first piece of his left hand, and then we're going to have Uncle Sam's face, because look, we have a big hole in the middle of our sheep. He needs a head. Okay, we'll be back to iron on the next steps. Okay, so you can see we have our stars outlined, our face, and our left hand. And I want to point out we're going to have some over and underlap again. So we want to make sure that we iron those stars on first and then the face. Because see, there's just a little bit of that star that goes underneath the sheep's face. So let's get started with that. And again, with the white pieces, you have 2 of each white piece, right? So you're just going to grab one and put it in place. And then what we'll do, just like we did with the white piece of the flag, once we get this ironed into place, then we will iron the second piece that's just like it right on top. There we go. Boop. So cute. 1 star down, 2 to go. So now I have this little guy. So cute. I love these stars. So remember, this is a collaboration with our friend Amy of Amy Brucken Designs. And I just really love her stars. They're always just like a little wonky, a little fun. I really like it. Her artwork is cute. And I know Mom has so much fun adapting it into machine applique. Because it's not like work for her. It's like play. So Mom gets really excited when she's doing Amy's designs. She gets excited about her own designs too, but it's really funny. I think she has a little bit more fun because it's, you know, she's not having to think of the design. All right, this little star in place. Oh, I messed up. You see, you should never really smear your iron across your pieces because you can affect the others. See, I kind of messed up my point. Boop, boop, boop. So do as I say, not as I do, because I did just move my iron in a bad way. You should always pick it up and move it when you're working with applique, especially when you have like pointed pieces like this. See, if I pick it up like that, I'm not going to worry about like hitting the end of a piece. All right, and now, are you guys ready? It's really going to look like a sheep when we put his face on. I'm excited. Let's get this little guy in place. So cute. All right. And just work my way across. There we go. Make sure he's in a good spot. And now don't forget his little arm. So we have his left arm to put in place. And then we're going to have one more step before we start changing our thread colors. And that is our very last applique outline. And that is going to give us, first the machine is actually with your white thread. It's going to do the stitching on the white stars right now. A nice little triple stitch inside of each of the 3 stars. And the machine's gonna give us our applique outline for the left piece of the arm. And then we'll start doing our thread changes. Okay, let's take a look at our stars. How cute do they look stitched like that? I love it. Okay, so remember we have that one remaining applique piece to put in place. So let's get this little guy right here. And boop. Give him a press in place. All right, so we are never gonna have a step that's just white because as the machine was doing our applique outlines, it did the straight stitch on the white for us here. It did the straight stitch on the white for us around the body, and the same for the stars. So now what we're gonna do is go through our thread changes and the machine's gonna do all the work for us. I love it. So I'm gonna take my hoop on and off for the next steps, simply so I can show you what the steps are and talk about the thread changes. You, for the rest of the process, don't have to take your hoop on and off your machine. Just leave it on, change your thread colors, and stitch along with me. Speaking of thread color changes, let's get started. The first color we're gonna put on is 1177, that avocado, and the machine is gonna do the perfect little buttonhole stitch along the left and right sides of our grass. Okay, that was fast. Our grass is stitched. Take a look. Oh, I love it. Just look at those perfect buttonhole stitches. Oh my goodness. I love it. Okay, so now we're going to change this beautiful blue color, the 1293, and the machine is going to do the buttonhole stitch on both legs, on the little blue of the flag, and of course around the blue right here. Okay, all of our blue is stitched. Let's take a look. Doesn't it look so cute? And look, our little flag's starting to come to life. And then of course, his legs. He's gotta have legs. Okay, so now the next color that we're going to put on is going to be the red 1147. And as you can imagine, your machine is going to do all of your stripes on your little sheep and all of your stripes on your flag. And then, of course, the red down here on his shoes. All right, let's take a look at all the red stitching. So we have the flag, all the stripes on our little guy, and then of course the red on the shoes. It looks fantastic. I'm so delighted. So now we're going to change to black, which is 1005, and this is this step where your little guy's really going to come to life, and that's because the black is the two little eyes, and it's also his little mouth. So he's really going to start to be happy little Uncle Sam. And then of course the machine is going to stitch his shoes in an accent line, and then it's going to do both of his little arms, the black on both arms. Okay, let's put this back on and see him come to life. Okay, so now all the black is stitched, and before I show you, I'm going to trim this little line. Your machine may or may not do this, but when you have stitches that are really, really close together, it leaves a little string sometimes. There we go. Just going to get that up. And if you ever have any fuzz from your thread, just take a piece of your tape and go boop, boop, boop. Kind of like I'm waxing his eyebrows. All right. So now let's take a look at all the black that's stitched. So see, we have his left hand, his cute little face, his right hand, and then of course the shoes. And see, what I really like is we have the black come up into the red and make a little accent line. So now we only have 2 more thread color changes. Next, we're going to put on the 1055. Again, I'm using the 1056 simply because I don't want to open a thread kit just for myself, and I don't have 1055 in my thread collection. I just have 1056, so it's almost the same color. Yours is just a hair lighter, and it's going to stitch a buttonhole right here on our flagpole, and that's it. And then we'll just have 1 more thread change after that. All right, let's take a look at our flagpole. How cute is that? And I love that thread color on it, giving it that little bit of contrast. Makes it pop, brightens it up a little. So now we're on our very last thread color change, and that is kind of one of the most important colors, the silver gray, because we've got to stitch our little sheep in place, right? Can't have his head fall off, or his arms. Okay, so we're gonna put on the 1218, and the machine will stitch those 3 remaining pieces, and then we'll be all done. It'll be time to move on to the next video to make your border. So stay with me one more step. Yay, you're all done. Oh my gosh, is he so cute? Let me show you a close-up. So all the way from top to bottom of this little sheep is just buttonholed and straight stitched to perfection. I love it. So now what you're going to want to do is take this out of the hoop, and you'll go on to the next videos where you trim down your block, and then there's also a video tutorial for you on how to sew your borders on for this block. And then that's it. Now we just patiently wait for our August. I can't wait to stitch August. It's really cute too. All of them are so much fun. All right, happy stitching.